Hello and good morning to the Discover Greif webinar series. Thank you for the tremendous support you have given us regarding this series of events. Just to get started, I am going to launch a quick poll, and I'm curious to know how many of you have attended one of our previous webinar events, or if this is your first one. Just curious to get an idea of what our audience looks like this morning. While we're still waiting we still have quite a few people still joining, so I'll let those people join. We truly appreciate that during this time, while we're still not able to meet with you face to face, that we're able to have this opportunity to share with you about Greif's products and our product lines and our services that we have to offer. And we hope that you will continue to find them of value and that you will share these with your colleagues. I'm going to end the poll and I'll share the results with everybody. So it looks like there are quite a few. We've got 55% that this is your first webinar. So welcome again, and thank you for attending. We appreciate your interest in our Fibre drum series. So let me stop sharing those. Today, we will focus on Fibre drums, how a drum is made, and discuss our global Greif portfolio. My name is Cheryl Cottle, and I am responsible for marketing and communications in our rigid industrial packaging and services division. And I'll be your moderator for today's event. We have two new presenters with us today. With me, I have Linnea Olson, who is our Global Fibre Drum Product Manager. Linnea has worked as a process engineer for advanced hard materials prior to joining Greif in 2015. And she has held various roles, beginning in our paper packaging division and now our rigid division in innovations and product management. Joining Linnea is Nick Ingedal, who is our factory manager for our Danish Fibre drum operations. With a background in mechanical engineering and industrial design, Nick joined Greif in 2003 and has held various roles in research and development and product management. He left Greif for a brief time, but found his way home about 3 years ago. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. This is our second webinar using Zoom, so instead of seeing a question mark, you're going to see a chat button at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to submit your questions at any time during this presentation. We'll have a couple of opportunities to answer those for you. We will be recording the webinar and we will be sharing it for those who are unable to attend afterwards. Our agenda for today will be as follows. We will review how Fibre drums are made, and then we'll pause after this section just to get a few of your questions and if you have any technical questions. Then we'll review the diverse global portfolio of products that Greif has to offer, and we'll close with some more Q&A. At this time, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Linnea.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy to see so many first-timers. My name is Linnea Olson, and I'll take you through this first section. So before getting into details on how Fibre drums are manufactured, we just wanted to cover the differences of fiber and paper packaging, because it seems like we have a bit of a different nomenclature when it comes to it, so I want to make sure we are all on the same page. So when we talk about Fibre drums, we mean the cylindrical or square containers that are used for transportation and storage of dry, semi-liquid, and liquid products. So those you see pictured there is just a variety. So these are rigid laminated constructions that are more like plastic and steel drums in their use and appearance. We also have a wide range of paper packaging products within Greif in North America only. So if you're on our website, you will find Fibre drums under rigid packaging, but you will find all other various paper packaging options for different industries under the paper packaging segment. I will also mention early on here in the presentation that this presentation will be US centered, considering that's where we have the majority of our Fibre drum operations. But of course, we also have Nick to touch a little bit more about our global designs and products out of EMEA. So this slide shows the key raw materials and components that make up a Fibre drum. So the body you see there on the blow-up picture is made out of kraft paper. And this is then glued together with the different adhesives. In the US, we use primarily sodium silicate, and then PVA is used for a little bit here, but then the majority in other regions. We use a craft sheet that consists of laminated plies of paper together that we cut discs out of and use for our bottoms and sometimes tops as well. We have liners that we use as the interior protective layer within the drum. A barrier, on the other hand, is buried within the sidewall, and then a polished skin is what protects the exterior of the drum. We manufacture the chimes and the lock rims or closing rings of the drums out of steel coils. And then for liquid rated containers, we also use a caulking material, much like a seaming compound is used for steel drums. So we offer a broad range of options for customizing the fiber drums to your unique and specific applications, be it functionality or appearance. The liner and barrier choice depends on the product, storage, and transportation needs and conditions. We offer steel, plastic, and fiber covers or lids, and plastic or steel lock bands or closing rings. We also have a wide range of options to customize the exterior, be it for protection or just for branding. So our product portfolio can broadly be divided into 3 different production processes. So we will cover the lock rim and all-fi families, those processes in detail over the next few slides. And the lock rim family then includes all drums with metal chimes. So there's a lot of unfamiliar words and product names on this slide, but by the end of this presentation, you will have understood what each of those stand for. The all-fi and Rocons, those are our all-fiber construction, and they come in round and square shapes. So WeatherPack belongs to, it's an add-on construction within the lock rim family. So that's just created by a flame winding process versus the traditional process of making the sidewall construction, and that makes it very durable in demanding environments such as high heat and humidity. So we'll cover that a little more in detail later as well. So here are some construction highlights just to show the positioning and application of our skins, layers, and barrier, and also once again review what those different names stands for. It also shows the differences between the standard design and the transport design of the all-fiber constructions. So our standard design is a 3-piece design with a cover that fits flush with the sidewall. So that has an insert, making it 3 pieces for that total construction. Transport is a 2-piece design and the cover is offset. I'll show more pictures of that as we move on. So we will show a short video outlining the process steps of manufacturing a lock rim style drum. This video goes over each step rather quickly, so we will review the process steps here first. So in the first step, the body of the drum, the sidewall, the fiber sidewall is made. So a large roll of paper we get in from the mill is set on a winder, and the paper then travels to a mandrel, which is a piece of equipment that determines the diameter of the drum. How many plies of paper we add, how many lamination, depends on the construction. And then we have adhesive applied as the paper travels to laminate those plies of paper together. So in this step is also where we insert any liners or barriers. So once this tube or parent tube has been formed, it is trimmed along the edges and then cut to the appropriate length shells. So this will then determine the height of the drum. We install chimes on top of the shells, so those are the metal pieces. And then we also place a fiber bottom into that bottom chime before that is installed on the shell. In the next process step, those chimes are then crimped, the bottom chime first, to make that adhere to the sidewall and be a solid construction. We stamp the drums with the maker's mark, where you will see where it was made, any particular information about that drum, and then such as UN rating. Then in the next step, the top chime is formed, and that's how you get that pattern to it, as you can see in the top right corner. If any screen printing or any exterior decoration is done, that will be in the next process step. And then finally, we assemble the drums, fitting the cover in place and then securing it with a lock band or closing ring. Let's see. So as you can see here, the paper travels. This is a sheet fed into the mandrel. We'll get a better look at that here in a second. So here that long parent tube is made, coming off of the mandrel. And then in this next process step, the edges will be trimmed and that long tube will be cut to length. And this particular one, we made 2 drums out of 1 parent tube. The shells then move on here to get chimes installed. Here you see the top chime coming on. And then in that following step here, the bottom chime that already has the fiber bottom in it gets installed on the shell as well. It's very brief, a little hard to see. So what we see here next is actually going to be them assembling the bottom, the fiber bottom into the bottom chime. So this is then fed on that lower conveyor belt back to the process step we were just looking at. And then here the bottom chime is crimped. The drum has turned over by now, so that's the bottom. And then here finally the top chime is crimped as well. And what we didn't see was the drum getting the maker's mark put on and then that final assembly. So for all fiber manufacturing or all fiber constructions, the first 3 steps are identical to the lock ring manufacturing we just saw. These constructions don't have any chime, so instead the sidewall is folded to create a ledge for the bottom to sit on, and these are glued together. We then cover and reinforce these folds with a paper disc. So the covers for these, or the lids of these particular constructions are made exactly the same way as the drum body. And for that 2-piece design you see with an offset cover, that cover is just, or lid is just made with a slightly larger diameter. But on the 3-piece design, on the other hand, that has an insert and you have the same size cover or lid as that body. We'll have another video here for that. So once again, here we're making that long parent tube. That will get edge trimmed and then cut to size, just like before. This we made 3 drums out of 1 parent tube. They've gotten the maker mark applied. And then here you'll see the bottoms get pre-glued and then inserted so the sidewall can be folded over to create those pleats. And then in the next step, we just apply more pressure to give the adhesive time to set. And then here we also glue that facer or cover on top to reinforce and cover the folds. Here you see the covers being assembled. So this is a 2-piece design with an offset cover. So if it would have been a 3-piece design, that assembly step would also have included an insert. So now I'm going to hand over to Nick to talk about quality assurance and testing.
Yes, and we do our inline test. We practice building quality. meaning each production step is also a quality check, either visually or by engineering controls. Components are built in individually, providing an organic controls in the assembly step. Measuring. The shell height and diameter are measured at the start of each run. Crimp height is checked, both top and bottom. Lock band or the closing ring, the length of that is measured. The shells are weighted at the start of each run to ensure sufficient adhesive application. Each drum, its components, and the final appearance of the unit are visually inspected at each process step. The final inspection occurs in the shipping. The drum assembly. The cover and the lock band are assembled and checked for fit. Next, please. And our UN tests. Our UN dot-rated fiber drums are required to pass a series of testing before being approved and issued with a specific UN number that shows a container to comply with transport regulations. These drums are required to be retested annually. We have a stack test to ensure the ability of the packaging to remain intact and hold its content under normal stacking condition during transport. Test samples are to be subject to a force applied to the top surface of the sample, equivalent to the total weight of identical packaging that may be stacked upon it during transport. Drop test. The drop test is carried out to ensure that the packaging can withstand the impact of a fall during transport or the handling without hazardous goods leaking or escaping. The drop test includes 6 drops, 3 on the top diagonal and 3 on the bottom diagonal. The drop height depends on the packaging group rating of the product. NMFC rated drums. Initial design has to pass testing outline in the NMFC tariffs for dry and solid, semi-liquid and liquid rated drums. Back to you, Linnea.
Thank you. So now in the second part of the presentation, or Cheryl, did you want to stop for a question? Sure.
So we only have one question, but it's regarding a return program for the fiber drum portfolio, which I think you're going to get into later on in the presentation.
Okay. Yes,
so you're good to move on.
Thank you. So we'll now head into the second part of the presentation covering the product portfolio. So here we'll take a deeper look at the fiber drum portfolio of ours and then just cover that a little bit more in detail. So we mentioned we have the majority of our locations in the US, but also have 3 facilities outside of the US. We'll show you a map outlining where they are located. We have a broad portfolio of drum types. We'll go each specifics into all of those drums and their application, and they also have sizes ranging from 1 to 75 gallons or 4 to 284 liters. We also offer a wide range of customization, and what we also want to highlight is that although we are serving a various number of industries already, we may not have a solution for exactly what you're looking for. However, we are always very happy to co-develop and find that product that fits your exact needs. So this shows the global footprint of Greif. So we have 10 locations in the US spanning coast to coast, border to border. We also have a location in Mexico, a next location in Denmark, and then one in Israel. So the lock rim style drum is the base product many of our other designs are based on. So what's common for fiber drums is that they're lightweight, they're good for handling, transportation, and stacking. You won't have any rusting, denting, or peeling issues with these fiber constructions. If you kind of try to place them between plastic and steel, they have moderate temperature resistance and good thermal insulation. There's a lot of options just in terms of covers and lock bands, etc. And then of course also enhancements such as barriers or linings, and that's when we kind of move from the traditional dry and solid application into semi-liquid and liquid and try to bridging that gap of what fiber drums can be used for. So these also come in UNDOT and NMFC rated constructions, as we mentioned, and a wide variety of diameters and capacities. So we got quite a few questions prior to the webinar whether we have fiber drums suitable for liquid applications. So yes, we do. Our liquid pack or enhanced weather pack designs are suitable for liquid and non-hazardous liquids that is. So what is different between the liquid pack compared to the regular lock ring product is that they have a protective lining, a caulked bottom, and then a bit of an increase in the height just to allow for outage. The weather pack option is that thermoplastic adhesive option, where that has very good performance for water vapor transmission protection. These are commonly used for food products and also adhesives, to name a few. And then once again, if you add that weather pack option onto it, they are suitable for outdoor storage in high humidity conditions. The payoff pack is different from the regular lock ring just because that has that center winding cord to spool things such as welding wire, insulated wire, copper wire, any type of cable or tubing. So it's once again very strong and lightweight packaging, and this is available both with chimes as pictured here and as an all fiber construction. The Hopflow and cold flow drums are same diameter as steel drum, and they were actually invented to alleviate some of the issues with steel drums. So since fiber drums don't dent, you don't get a product stuck here if you have a hot melt or a solid in there, and you can get 100% product removal with the pressure plate or a standard platen. So the hot flow then has a removable bottom as well, and the cold flow is excellent for any pumpable product that is that flows under ambient conditions. So just to name a few food items, that will be chocolate, syrup, peanut butter, etc. So the all fiber style drums here were pictured as the square one that's called Rocon, and then the round one being the all five design. As I've mentioned before, there are two different designs there, a 3-piece or a 2-piece. And once again, they share many of the advantages of the lock rim style drums, such as being lightweight, good to handle, and having good thermal resistance as well. So they can't be used with a parrot beak since there's no chime to hook it in. So handling is mainly done with squeezing equipment or strapping. Another benefit to this is that they can be shipped nested or unitized, so you can get more drums on a truck. The benefit here for the end of life of the product or recycling is that they don't have any metal chimes, so no de-chiming operation is needed before they can be crushed and baled. And these designs are mainly for dry and solid materials, and that includes food product, pharmaceuticals, resins, chemical products, etc. So the reason the Rocon is square was just for maximum space utilization in ocean containers, but also shipping over land. And once again, if you choose to have those nested or unitized, you'll also have that additional benefit there. They come in mainly the same sizes, just a slight difference there in the capacities. So the economy drum is one of our oldest designs and can be used to package virtually any dry goods, whether loose or bagged. We commonly see these used for food, pharma, and chemical products. You have some options in the bottoms. They can be stitched or spun on, and then the cover or lid can be secured either with clips or with a lock band or closing ring. So now I hand over to Nick to talk about our global designs and our specialty products out of Denmark.
Thank you. Our global design drums are a set of robust packaging products with unlimited possibilities. They can be customized in design, features, and even quantities to match our customers' needs. They're proven to safely hold dry and solid materials. These fiber drums are also perfect for bagged, semi-wet and viscous materials. They are lightweight in handling, transportation, and stacking. Here the body won't rust, dent, or peel. It's moderate temperature resistance and thermal insulations. It has stable bottoms. The lids can be of metal, plastic, cardboard, or MDF. Barrier lining, skin exterior, decoration options at hand. It's particularly designed for dry and solid material. We have 100% recyclable components, and also UN-approved fiber drums are available. The sizes we have from 10 liter up to 1,000 liter, and the diameter is ranging from 25 to 100 centimeters. Next, please. Yeah, we have our the special fiber products where we in Greif go beyond drums. Produced here in Denmark, which we have done for a long time. It's expo furniture, retail displays, children's furniture, all in our portfolio. And yeah, what's the next coming? We will see. The benefits is lightweight in handling, transportation, stacking, and use. You have virtually infinity ways of designing and customize these products. All components can be again designed and customized. You have an endless decoration options, both do-it-yourself or finished products. You can combine storage and display combinations. They are 100% recyclable. Yeah, next please. Our sustainability work, our circular economy strategy, which is a very important component of our efforts to reducing our environmental footprint, spans across our operations and value chain. We are working to drive circular economy principles in 4 key areas: reducing raw material use, waste reduction, and reducing natural resource use, innovation and increasing recyclability and use of recycled materials in our products and in end of life. For fiber drums specifically, it means our paper is responsibly sourced. Our steel covers are made from 70% recycled material. Our chime steel is made from 30% recycled material. Our plants are continuously improving on their energy efficiency and zero waste goals. If you are curious how your current packaging compares, please ask about our Greif Green tool. And over to you again, Linnea.
Thank you. So we're working on projects spanning all 4 key areas, but in 2020 and 2021, we're focusing a little bit extra on finding end-of-life solutions to fiber drums. This is something we've been working on for a very long time. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. We do have an extensive mill network in the US, together with our paper packaging and services division. And we do have recycled paper mills that can use our fiber drums. So we don't really see this as much of a technical challenge as one of logistics, because we ship drums to our customers who in turn ships drums to their customer, and all of a sudden those drums start spreading across all of the US and other regions of the world. So we do believe there's a very large need here to work together in partnership to try to find a good home for these spent drums. So some fiber drums are reused. However, we cannot recommend that, because especially if they have a UN rating, their performance have to be verified. So there isn't as much of a recollection service for fiber drums as there is for plastic drums and steel drums and IBCs. So we are hoping to find customers that are willing to work with us in trying to come up with a good solution here to divert fiber drums from landfill. Another thing that our customers are very concerned about is cleanliness and food safety. We sell a lot of drums to the food industries, and so that is always a high priority. We offer many services on top of just keeping a regular, good, clean production environment to ensure that our customers get as clean drums as they need for their use in turn. So we have 2 fiber drum plants that are SQF, Safe Quality Food Certified, as part of the Global Food Safety Initiative. And these are located in Georgia and in Illinois in the US. The kraft paper we use to manufacture the drums meets FDA requirements for food packaging. And we also offer interior liners that meet FDA requirements for food packaging. So in conclusion, we hope to either continue or to start serving your products from our broad portfolio from one of our many locations. We have the largest footprint in the US and also in Scandinavia. So we hope either of those are convenient to you. We also hope that we get to continue to jointly develop solutions with our customer, be it related to product development, sustainability, and/or food safety. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, and I'll now hand over to Cheryl for the Q&A section.
Great, thank you very much, Linnea. Again, there is a chat button that you can use to ask our panelists questions there on the bottom of your screen. We do have a few questions coming in. The first one obviously was regarding whether or not the presentation will be made available to attendees, and yes, we are recording this event and we will share the presentation with you afterwards. One of the questions we had, Linnea, was regarding our kraft paper. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What other options there are, colors, you know, can just explain a little bit more about the kraft paper that we use to make our fiber drum?
Yes, so the kraft paper that we use, our base paper, will be the color you see in the background here. If we do any printing or any cover of the drum to turn it entirely into a different color, that is an external wrap or a printing onto the drum. So our base paper will always be this color. There are some white top options, but what we use is primarily this brown paper.
Great, thank you. So what is the stacking strength of the all-fi versus the fiber drums with a chime? Is there a difference with that?
I can take it. It will be a little lower. So the benefit of the chime is that it adds rigidity to the drum. So typically you see a higher stacking strength with the chime on the drum, and then you also have a choice between standard or wide chime that even further enhances the stacking strength. That of course is all related to the diameter and size of the drum as well, but just generally speaking, you will have a higher stacking strength if you have chimes on the drum.
And while we're talking about chimes, there was a question regarding the process of de-chiming. Is this something that can be easily done? Is there a specific tool? What's the process look like for that?
So there are smaller dechimers that can be used in the plants. We have some in our plants, and it's basically a little bandsaw almost that takes it out. I have been looking around where they can be purchased, and they actually don't take up a large footprint at all. So what we've seen while working through the end of life project is just, it comes to where should that dechimer be? Should each individual customer have one, or should we work together to try to find strategic locations to have them? I believe also there are 2 options. There's one that is just manually run, and then there's more automatic versions where you can insert the drums and the machine will do the dechiming process and then sort the parts.
And then one other question is, how are they actually attached to the fiber drum portion? I know you showed a little bit about the crimping, but are they?
So the steel of the chime is formed with the fiber inside. So that is gripped in place. So they're very hard to remove and they have to be cut off. You can't really, I can't imagine that you can pull it off necessarily. It's more you have to cut to have that piece of fiber remaining inside of that chime. If you have anything additional, Nick, you can add.
No, that's correct.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about the green tool and how we can use that to evaluate our environmental footprint, whether we're using, depending on our industrial packaging a little bit, and how that applies to fiber drums?
Yep. So the green tool evaluates basically one option versus another. So you come up with the scenario, be it that you're using a different drum currently, or you're using a different size drum, and you want to see what you choose what your outcome want to be. If your priority when it comes to sustainability is zero waste to landfill or carbon footprint, that plays a role in the analysis as well. And then you basically choose what your scenario A is and your scenario B is, and then the data we have preloaded in there based on raw materials and some assumptions regarding transportation, etc., will be taken into account and then deliver results showing which one is the better option, depending on your preset criteria for what success looks like for you. The tricky thing with sustainability is that it has to be very well defined what the goals are to get a good result that is actionable. Because sustainability can take the form of, reduce water, it can be reduced energy, it could be reducing your carbon footprint, it could be the waste going to landfill. So I think the first step for many is just to understand what are the key focus areas, and then we can start looking deeper into what options you have, what packaging options you have, and if there are better options to meet those specific goals.
Perfect. What is the sealant that you use in the base of the liquid fiber drum?
The caulking compound? Yes. So,
I referred to the sealant. So yeah. Thanks.
Yes. So that's just a compound inserted in there that would create a tight seal, so there is no gap whatsoever, and that moisture can't wick out of there either. So we can get more specific information on what the particular compound is, but in general, that's the functionality of it.
And then there's a couple of questions regarding reuse. You mentioned, I know you talked about not sending them to landfills. Obviously, if we rechime them, then you can recycle the fiber component. Someone mentioned the end use of our drums for incineration, but is there a way to repurpose fiber drums besides recycling, as long as it's not the same UL rating? Like, could you reuse a drum in another application besides, taking it to a landfill or incinerating it?
Yes and no. It depends what it was originally used for and what shape the drum is in. We can't make particular recommendations around it, and if you look at industry organizations, etc., generally fiber drums is a one-way storage container or transport container. However, if it's a light use drum and you're packaging the same product again, it might be possible to reuse it. It might also be possible to reuse it for internal use. So we can't necessarily give any recommendations around that. That's up to users' discretion. I would just caution everyone to be very careful when it comes to hazardous products and drums with the UN rating on them, because their performance have been verified when they come from us, but anything that happens during storage or transportation might affect the integrity of that drum.
And then what types of drums are dedicated for chemicals? How are the drums coated or secured? I know you mentioned some of them come with a bag or a liner. I don't know if you can discuss that a little bit.
Do you want to take that one, Nick?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's a solid material, I would say pretty much every one of them are suitable for chemicals. We have examples on chemical customers not using a bag liner. I mean, with or without. So it's pretty much suitable for all kinds of chemicals. Obviously, it has to be comparable. Fiber, our kraft liner has to be comparable to the specific chemical material. Don't know if you want to add something, Linnea.
Yeah, so we have a packaging advice group within Greif. So if we are coming across a new application that we're not familiar with, typically we have them review and make recommendations on the compatibility between a certain liner material or a specific drum and how that chemical compound should be stored and packaged.
Great, we have a lot of team of experts that are available to assist you guys in making the proper selection for your packaging. One of the questions was concerning how much are they affected by damage? So can there be a puncture? How strong are the fiber drums to avoid being, we use the word hacked or a hole punctured or something like that into the product during transportation?
Yeah, so when we first designed the drums, a criteria is to check the sidewall burst strength. And that's something then we just continually verify that the paper we purchase has that same burst strength. So that is a criteria for a new design. And as for the UN rating on the drum, it would be considered a redesign if that sidewall burst strength were to change over time more than, I think, 15%. So that is something we test and measure on the drums. But if you have, for example, a puncture from a forklift or something, that won't necessarily be able to cover it. But anything lighter than that, there are different ratings, and that is stamped on the drum, what that sidewall, what burst strength in PSI that should be able to hold. But other than that, fiber drums don't dent necessarily like, a steel drum or anything. So that's also an advantage of using a fiber drum.
Great. One last question here regarding, is there a shelf life for use? How can we ensure the drums remain fit for use if they've been sitting for a while?
So that would be a combination of factors being storage conditions and then just duration. The fiber drums are, dry structures. So as long as they don't pick up moisture from the air or that they're very harsh storage conditions, generally they will stay the same. Nick, do you want to add anything in terms of that?
No, exactly. We have examples on in controlled environments, customer that are using it internally for up to 20 years. So it's a very, very strong and durable packaging as long as it's stored correctly.
The enemy would be just wetness and moisture in general. However, there are then options or add-ons to the construction of the drum that would eliminate some of that. I would still say that those are more demanding environments, and you might also want to choose a chime that offers more protection than our standard chime as well. But we have all of those in our portfolio. So that's something we can talk more about for a specific application and make recommendations what the most durable drum design would be.
Thank you. Can you go ahead and flip to the next slide? Linnea mentioned, we have a packaging advice team. We also have quite a few experts. In addition to Nick and Linnea, we have Dan Healy. He's one of our managers who manages a couple of our locations in the New York and Canada area. He has a lot of experience with fiber drums as well. So in North America, you have some more specific questions. If you can't get a hold of Linnea, we can definitely put you in touch with Dan. I do want to, before we wrap up, I want to put up another poll that just asks whether or not you would like someone to contact you regarding more information on our fiber drums. And we'll make sure that we do that after this event is over. If you have any other further questions, we have a few more minutes for our panelists, but otherwise I want to thank them. Fiber drums have been a part of the Greif portfolio for dozens and dozens of years. And so we have a lot of experts that are here to work with you, to coordinate, to customize a package specifically designed for for your needs. Give that a couple more seconds. All right, we'll end that poll. We appreciate your participation. If you could flip to one more slide, Linnea. We are glad that you attended this one on our fiber drums, but we have our next Discover Greif webinar is going to focus on how an IBC is made, and we'll review again our G-Cube IBC portfolio that's globally available. It'll be next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. I believe at Central European time. So if you've not received your invitation for that, those did go out yesterday, and please let us know. I'll be happy to send you a registration link for that event. Again, we thank you for attending our event today, and we hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you may be. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.